There's the light now, and we're ready to go. The gates are back here at the Everest. We're off and racing to the massive roar of the crowd. Giga kick going to Bella Nipotina. Bella's in front though. Bella Nipotina wins the Everest.
Kar Ying rising. He's the Usain Bolt of the equine world.
Briasa goes to overpass. Briasa won the TJ. Jimmy Starr levels up. Jimmy takes the shot and won the All Age Stakes. Hello everyone, welcome to Trek to the Everest. Come Saturday, we're only 2 weeks away from the $20 million TAB Everest. Everest number 9. Ray Thomas and Chantelle Buckley are here to go through the week that was and trying to fill these final slots that we haven't done yet.
Godolphin still contemplating what they'll do. Greg, does Baywalk take their slot after that spectacular Golden Rose win? Did Tempted show she's more of a 1,200 metre horse? We'll see Tentris on Saturday. Coolmore haven't made a decision. Reed Woden, their slot's still open. Of course, Mulberry have their slot to fill. And there's a slight question mark, Chantelle, about Skybird for Inglis.
So this last week on the show I remember vividly saying, surely next week we'll have a clearer picture. Well, we took one step forward and about 3 steps backwards. Yeah. So we are no clearer as to what's going to happen. And I guess we're waiting for Godolphin. They did make it pretty clear this morning they'll only run one of their horses though.
Yeah, so there's no negotiation to get another horse in.
No, they want to keep the other two for the
Coolmore stud.
Yeah. And did I hear someone call it Tentyrus?
Tentyrus,
yeah.
I
Not
did.
Tentris?
So we've always called it Tentris, but Andy Mackey called it Tentyrus.
And is it Bivact?
Bivact?
He said Bivact, yeah.
Bivact,
So,
yeah, the V.
Too late to change now. Here's the state of play. Here's how it looks with the slots at the moment. We'll go through the scenarios possible. Now, Skybird remains up in the air. Must trial. And it pulled up lame after the Manikato. So no news on Skybird yet.
No, I spoke to Sebastian Hutch this morning, Greg, and they're giving Mitchell Friedman the time he needs to tell them if the horse is ready, if the mare's ready. He wants to make a call by either tomorrow or Thursday.
Okay.
So that will give Inglis some time if they need to
Do they have any other horses in the picture?
He has, but he's playing his cards close to his chest. I think this weekend will be very important too, Chantelle.
Overpass goes straight into the Everest. So does Jolie Star via that trial on October 7 against Kar Ying Rising, we believe. Lady Shenandoah, we'll talk about her in a moment after the Manikato. Angel Capital, James Harron will join us on the show tonight. Briasa goes to the premiere on Saturday, so does Jimmy Star. Kar Ying Rising, safely ensconced in that Canterbury Quarantine Centre. Private Harry, more news on him today after he worked yesterday morning with new rider Tim Clark. Now, the Godolphin picture in a moment. Coolmore, still up in the air. Mulberry, still up in the air. Let's go to the Golden Rose on Saturday, and Baywalk winning the Golden Rose in track record time. So will it be Baywalk? Will it be the filly Tempted who ran third? As Shani said, there are multiple options for these 3-year-olds, and Tentyrus is sitting in the background as well. Who do they pick, Ray? Do they pick Baywalk or do they pick Tempted?
I'd love to see Baywalk in the race because he's a speed machine. He'd certainly make it interesting for Kar Ying Rising. He wouldn't get a soft lead, would he? Because he will make sure the pressure's on from the start. He was spectacular in the Golden Rose. Shani broke the clock, broke the hearts of his chasing rivals, and dropping to 53 in Everest, gee, give him something to chase.
Well, I remember Adam Hieronymus got off him after he won 2 starts ago and said, I don't think with his racing pattern he'll run a strong 14. And then I think they've realised, 1, he'll run 14, and 2, that you just have to let him roll. Yeah. He's got this high cruising speed, just let him run, let a fast horse be fast. And he was absolutely brilliant. So the fact that he's had that tough run over the 1400 now back to 1200 suggests that he'll run out a really strong 12. Then we learned with Tempted, maybe she's just not a 1400 metre horse, maybe she's more 6 furlong. So she too could come back to that as well.
She'd had 51 if she ran in Everest, so that could be tempting, Greg, but gee, I like the fact they might put that colt in Baywalk.
And he'll carry 53. Here's Jason Walsh after the win on Saturday, and also Kieran Maher, the trainer of Tempted.
There's a bit to play out. Obviously, the short-term focus for both Tempted and Baywalk was today's Golden Rose, and for them to both run so well and for the colt to get the result was obviously a huge effort. So we'll be guided by Chris and what he wants to do with Baywalk in the first instance. It's an option, obviously, looking towards a Coolmore to go that path, and some 3-year-olds have and run well in the past, so that's a possibility. We've obviously got the slot to fill So, you know, we'll give that some consideration in the coming weeks. As you say, 10 Tyrus is due to have his first up run at Flemington next Saturday. He remains a possibility. And ultimately, we'll just make the decision that we think suits those horses best on the path towards where they're going and gives us our best chance in the Everest.
So at the moment, all three of those horses are on the table?
Yeah, I think they remain so. We thought that coming here today that, you know, Tempter's done nothing wrong. She's run beautifully again today at 7. And so, you know, we'll let that all play out, see how they come out of their runs and see what we think suits each best.
It's hard to peak when you run such a peak first up 2 weeks back. I thought she's run a very creditable race. He rode her well, and I think she'll bounce off that again.
Obviously there's going to be a lot of discussions now about where Tempted goes next, where the other Godolphin horses go next, and you'll be heavily involved in those. Have you got an obvious view?
Yeah, I'll have a chat with the boys and, you know, fair play to them. They've got a colt that's won a Group 1 and he's probably got a home now at stud, and, you know, she's probably more dynamic at 6 on a better tempo. So, yeah, they're good options to have, but, yeah, like the Coolmore's an option and the Everest is in the mix, so I'll sit down and see how she pulls up and work it out with the team.
One thing that we should note, it's changed this year. In previous years, the previous 8 Everests, you've had James Cummings sitting there with the team talking about their options with one trainer. Here you've got 3 different trainers to talk to, and each would make their case for wanting to go one way or the other.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, Anthony and Sam Freedman trained 10 Tyrus. I get that right. And even Andy Mackey have said this morning, Golden Mile, possibly, but he...
Where did they pull that from?
He must be working well.
He's getting ready for the Sydney Stakes, so no matter what happens, he'll be ready, he'll be fit for that day.
Golden Mile.
Golden Mile, which we never even considered, but if they opt to take the 3-year-olds elsewhere, then he could be there.
Well, they've pulled a few little rabbits out of their hat. I mean, Osborne Bulls wasn't fancied at all.
Trekking first year wasn't fancy.
And they've run exceptionally well, so they know what they're doing.
Yeah, true. Rightio, here's the Manikato. Lady Shenandoah. It didn't fall into place for her. McDonald was very forgiving. Punters would not have been. McDonald was very forgiving. Was it Moonee Valley?
Chris Waller thought it was a combination of a few things. The track, she was never on the right leg, was she, Chantelle? And luck and running went against her, the tempo of the race, etc. She still run well. She's had a couple of days at the farm back from Melbourne. She won't go to the October 7 trial, but certainly Chris is very bullish about her. Chris Waller going towards the Everest. Charmstone's now a dual Group 1 winner. Barrakeel's gone for a spell, Chantelle, but Magic Time for Yulong ran a good third. So Charmstone and Magic Time put their hands up, so to speak.
Charmstone was brilliant, wasn't she? A 10% share was sold to Yulong actually last week for I think about 310,000. So they bought in at the right time because then she came out and won that Group 1. But
was that on an English online sale?
It was on an English online. So
eligible for English.
She is. Yes, that's another point that has been made. Yeah, right, and she's at the top of her game. So you know she's there, ready and waiting. As for Lady Shenandoah, I think if you didn't back her, forgive her. It was a credible run. I just think the gate and the fact that it was first time around the Valley for her brought her undone. But James McDonald did say in a post-race interview with Corey on Saturday that he's really looking forward to her bouncing back. So you can just tell
there's a confidence
there,
isn't
there?
there?
There's still confidence there. And from that, I feel like maybe, do you think he might go, Lady Shenandoah?
But Jolie Starr would be interesting. I'd probably... He might test Jolie Starr in that trial on October 7 and make his final call, and Chris Waller will have an input as well. But
exactly.
Good position to be in for James, albeit very tough one.
Tough, but you wouldn't mind having a couple to choose from in an Everest. Most jockeys just want one ride. They don't care what it is, but he's got 2.
This is what Chris Waller said about Lady Shenandoah.
Lady Shenandoah last night, what do you make of the run? Got a little bit lost perhaps around the Valley?
Yeah, she did. She didn't have any luck either. So I think more a luck factor. But she's bounced out of it really well. We've had the vet go over this morning. He was very happy. She ate up last night, which most horses don't. She did. So yeah, it was just a messy race and outside barrier, around a tight turning track, but she'll be ready for 3 weeks' time.
After that Manikato, Kaying Rising was firmed in from $1.70 to $1.60. Lady Shenandoah drifted. So that leaves Jolie Star as the $8 second favourite. We've had 4 goes at second favouritism in this race.
Yeah,
There's been 4 horses who have had a crack. Jolie Star, Briasa, Lady Shenandoah.
And it could change
Private
after
Harry.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And that Hong Kong horse just gets shorter and shorter
does,
every
yeah.
week. They're $1.60 now.
Michael Wood, General Manager of Racecourses at the ATC, gave me an update on the track conditions for Saturday's Epsom card this morning at the barrier draw. You've got a warm, dry week.
Yeah, look, it's ideal, actually. It's going to be nice and warm through the middle part of the week, and then the temperature drops down a little bit over the weekend. So once we can get into that range exactly where we want it, it should stay there for the day.
Okay, so 2 weeks between meetings, a bit of irrigation.
Yeah, there will be. Obviously, supplement where we're not getting that rainfall, but it's certainly good to have it in our hands. So a bit of irrigation early in the week, and then we'll just continue to assess throughout.
Where you've got the track, you're pretty happy?
Very much so. Soft 5 today, which is, where you want to be when you've got a warm couple of days. It'll start to zap it out of the track, but we'll put it back in the evenings when the wind's down, and I think we'll be in that good 4 perfect range.
And then probably your most important 2 weeks of the year, from Epsom to Everest. What's the forecast looking like over the next month?
Yeah, look, at this stage, it's somewhat settled. So when you're getting these warmer, less amounts of rainfall, it's ideal leading in, especially when we have a meeting like the Epsom. It's we're going to have big fields and good sizes. It's not going to impact the track too much as well. So when we move the rail out for Everest Day, that track should be spot on.
And where will that rail be?
The plan is for 3 metres. So, I tend to believe that the 3 metre position is our best position here at Randwick. We run our Queen Elizabeth Day at that rail position, and it's always a fantastic day there in the autumn. So, hopefully the weather continues the way it is at the moment, and we keep the track in the optimum range.
Now, I'm going to give St Michael up here. He's provided a few miracles.
He's done a good job.
He was beatified after the sensational performance of the track draining on day 1 of the championships last
how we raced that
couple of years ago.
Incredible.
Yeah. He is predicting, with that settled conditions, and if we don't get any sudden downpours and the forecast change and we get a dry track, he is predicting, Michael, that the track record will fall in the Everest.
1:7:32.
Yes.
Wow.
Holds the track record.
Okay. Gee, imagine if
I promised him I wouldn't reveal that.
You just did.
But I just did.
You just told the world.
No, that's how confident he is about how the track is at the moment. And the forecast sounds promising,
Yeah,
because we had all these reports that, October's going to be the wettest month, and
wouldn't it be great
Our
to have
spring was meant to be the wettest on record.
Yeah.
We've
dry
hardly had a
track,
drop.
Everest Day, Car-Ying Rising doing his thing. Where else would you want to be, Chantelle?
yeah.
Wow.
Well, he breaks 1.8 for fun.
He does.
Now, whether he can take that sub 1.8 Shah Tin to Randwick,
Up that Randwick rise.
but Randwick will be in. If we have settled conditions all the way in the lead up, we're going to have that fast track.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
Great.
Here is Tim Ryan. Now, we spoke to Tim about the Premier Stakes coming up this Saturday and where the money is going, and also the favourites for the Epsom and the Metropolitan on the weekend. What's the interest been like on the Premier Stakes?
Yeah, we rate straight away after we put the all-in markets up. We wrote a bet of $1,000 on Briasa at the $2.80 I put up. So he's the early firm. He's been $2.80 into $2.50. Jimmy Star made second pick. I really liked his recent barrier trial. They rode him up on the speed, got him out of the gates. So made him a $3.50 second pick. He's second best backed in the race. Private Harry was the tricky one to price. Started so short in the shorts the other day as a $2.20 chance. Made him a $4.50 chance there, but no interest. Punters, it seemed like they've given up on Private Harry. War Machine, the tricky one to price as well. $6 chance early. He's out to $8. The early money suggests it's more likely to run in the Gilgai down in Melbourne. And the other early firm has been Generosity, the ex-WA mare, 11 into 8. A little bit of money for her. But at this stage, punters mainly concentrating on Briasa.
And on the barrier draws today, you think Autumn Glow, you might see even money or better?
Yeah, well, I've had a bad record taking her on in the past, but I just think first go at the mile, first go Group 1 class, drawing the outside gate. He's going to have a target on his back, Kieran McAvoy. So I went 180 out to 190. As we get our percentage down later in the week, I'm pretty sure you'll see black odds. They'll have to back a couple of early firms there. Willie Do It, 11 into 9, has seen a bit of support.
And the Metrop, we might see a change in favouritism there.
Yeah, that's wide open now. I think the barrier really hurts Birdman. He loved drawing barrier 1, winning the Kingston Town Stakes. Barrier 17 makes it tough for him. I've gone 450 out to 5. He's still favourite, but I think favouritism is up for grabs. Solar Spain, he'll be popular, Newcastle Cup winner. He's a $6 chance. I wouldn't be surprised if they back Vauban. There was just so much money for it last time in the Kingston Town. That run was too bad to be true. He's an $8 chance, but I think he's a likely early firmer.
All right, Private Harry had a gallop at Newcastle on Monday. New rider is Tim Clark, taking over from Ash Morgan. And we've got footage of this, courtesy of Gavin Carmody, who went to the track gallop, and you're about to hear from Nathan Doyle and Tim Clark. So he has redemption on his mind, Nathan Doyle, but I don't think we expected him to work anything other than good, because that's what he does. He works good, he trials good.
Yeah.
He has to bounce back from an unplaced effort in the shorts. He'll run in the Premier on Saturday. Here's Nathan Doyle and new jockey Tim Clark.
He did everything right out there. He relaxed in his 3/4 and he come up nicely under Tim, and Tim was quite pleased the way he went, and the main thing is recovery is very good. So I think he just needed the edge taken off him in that first up run. Naturally being a colt, they're full of energy. They're not like geldings or mares. They probably get better with racing. And it was probably similar to last preparation here at Newcastle when he broke his maiden. He was a bit edgy in the gates, but after he had that first up run under his belt, he was so good in the gates from there and onwards. So hopefully that's just what he needed, just that edge taken off him. He can do all the work at home. But there's nothing like that race day experience just to take the edge off and a little bit more pressure put on. So hopefully that's all he needed, but I couldn't fault him this morning.
He came through that first up run in the shorts physically well?
Physically well. We went all over him. We got the vets in, going over him from head to toe. There's nothing significant that come to a head, so we just put it down to first up and just the edge that he needed taken off him out of that run, and we can't fault him at home, and his piece of work was terrific this morning.
It was nice to come up here and get a feel for Private Harry this morning, and he done a lovely bit of work on the course proper. Should top him off nicely for Saturday.
How did he feel?
Yeah, he's moving really well, work lovely. He's a competitive sort of worker, so he's he knows his job, and went out there and I thought he worked particularly well. He's got a horse with a high cruising speed, as we've seen in his races, and this morning's work was beautiful. Should top him off nicely for the weekend.
And of course leading into the Everest, but he looks to be back on track. Nathan was very happy with that piece of work.
Yeah, that's right. Things didn't quite go right for him there first up, but he needs to improve off that and show everyone that he's back to his best form, and hopefully Saturday he can do that.
So that's a wrap of all we know about the Everest at this stage. We'll take a break. When we come back, a man who knows how to win the Everest. He's done it twice. Slot owner, head of the syndicate, James Harron.
Redzel's burst clear at the 100 metres. Vega Magic, Brave Smash running on, then Chulo. But Redzel, he's home in the Everest. Redzel leads all the way.
Redzel has won the TAB Everest and $5.8 million. The Snowdens and Karen McAvoy and the Triple Crown syndications have combined with James Harron Bloodstock, the slot holder.
Nature Strip a length in front. Private Eye. Giga Kick down the outside, wins the Everest. The unbeaten 3-year-old's done it. Giga Kick beat Private Eye.
Okay, James Harron, you've won the Everest for the second time. You were the inaugural slot owner when Redzel won. What just happened?
Yeah, look, what a thrill. Sometimes the best story that wins the race, and I think Giga Kick had the best story, there's no doubt about it. Clayton Douglas having an incredible breakout year as a trainer at 27 years old, and just so happy for him, so happy for all our owners behind the slot that have been my biggest supporters and back us into doing these wonderful things that we get to enjoy, and it's just absolutely fantastic, and hats off to just everybody for making this race what it is, and that was the most exciting finish of a race I've ever been involved in.
Yes, it was an incredible day. An unbeaten 3-year-old, Giga Kick, winning the Everest that year, and of course the first year. We didn't know what the Everest was in year one. Now we know 8 years later what it has become. Just for the record, this is James Harron's slot. Redzell year one, first. Vega Magic the next year, How Quickly You Can Fall, last. The next year, Nature Strip, fourth. Libertini, eighth. The Inferno, 10th. Giga Kick win, Cylinder 5th, and last year they teamed up with Sir Owen Glenn and Lady of Camelot, ran the bravest of 4ths. So 2 wins for James Harron, and this year he's come up with Angel Capital. What an inspired choice that was. James Harron is joining us on Trek to the Everest. He's been on this show every year since its inception. Sometimes you keep us waiting. This year you're sort of in the middle. When did Angel Capital appear on your radar?
Yeah, good evening all. It's very exciting watching those replays. I've got to say it's a wonderful time of year and it certainly gets the heart racing. But look, Angel Capital, it's been a very interesting horse. He's had a boom on him from very early days, and obviously we've seen him really progress and show a lot of X factor in all his races, and went slightly amiss and has come back this preparation and just really just announced himself. I think the Moonee Valley race was obviously a good sign that he was back, but really it was his last start in the Sir Rupert Clarke where he was just jogging in behind them and everything was full bore, and the way he gobbled up the ground, I just thought there's something very special about this horse.
Well, year 2, after you picked Redzell the first year, you left Redzell behind and Yulong picked up Redzell for his second Everest win. This year you're combining 9 years later.
Yeah, it's wonderful how the industry works and how these things come around. And yeah, we were delighted to team up with Yulong. They've been they've incredibly successful organisation, and they've got the most very, very special bloodstock. So the Everest allows us to share in these horses for the day, of course, for the race, and we're very excited.
James, the Everest, we know there's no place to hide in the world's richest turf race, so to speak, and you've selected a horse who's only had the 9 starts. He's won 5 of them. There's no doubt he's a super talent. Is he battle-hardened enough for an Everest?
Yeah, it's a very fair question, a good question, Ray. I mean, he's obviously, I think although 9 starts, he just looks like he's got that progressive nature about his profile, and we've always really found that to be the exciting part, to look for that horse that's shown some good current form, but looks like it's got room to move, and every horse is going to have to in this field. It's in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree, it looks like the best field we've seen yet. It's there is nowhere to hide, and the horses are going to have to be absolutely running primed for this race and peaking for the Everest to have any chance of winning it, or even running in the top 3.
You've been there from the start. You've obviously, I guess we could call you a bit of a master of picking the right horse for the Everest, having picked 2 winners. Was there ever a time where you started to panic this time around, thinking, I don't know where to turn to?
Yeah, look, it's history will tell you that there's sort of, you can wait and you can look for, things fall by the wayside and horses, pop up. Sometimes you sit and you think, I wish I'd maybe just gone for something much earlier and locked it in that looks like it's returned really well. But ultimately, we like to see them in form. We like to see what, their path, their trajectory. We want to make sure that the Everest has been their number 1 prime target. And but yeah, look, if I didn't say there wasn't sort of all different types of thoughts, to be honest, you'd be lying. It's really just trying to roll with the punches and just be all over it and make sure you're having plenty of discussions and analysing every race that counts.
So how different was it this year? How different the approach when you're confronted with Ka Ying Rising? We haven't seen this before in this race.
Yeah, I mean, I would think a number of slot holders would have looked at the different deals and different structures when you've got a $1.60 favourite in the race, and be interesting to see how everyone went about that. But I believe Angel Capital. I've always got into this race wanting to think that you've got a top 3 or a top 4 horse, and then the rest is, as you know, you sort of up to the lap of the gods. Especially with a race this deep, and with Angel Capital, it just came at the right time for us, and the guys at Yulong were super to deal with. We really just jumped on and said, look, thought he ran terrific, we're super keen, how do you guys feel about it? And they wanted to be in the race, and we put it together very quick. So it was, in terms of this year, it was quite seamless in that regard, and I do genuinely believe he's a top 4 chance.
James, at the Valley, Angel Capital was spectacular, coming from off speed and scoring really easily. His racing pattern, I dare say, would be pretty suited to a fast run Everest, a bit like what Giga Kick did in 2022.
Yeah, Ray, that was obviously quite an attraction as well, just to have that different dimension in the race. There's obviously going to be what looks like really good speed on paper, and he seems to be able to really absorb that and come home really hard. His stride length looks huge. He just gobbles up the ground. So, we're hoping it's a really fast run race. We're hoping Ka Ying Rising feels the Australian sprinters' pressure, and we're hoping we can, make a big impact from from midfield or just behind.
You've got a couple of 2-year-olds going around or debuting on Saturday. You've got Incognito here in Sydney, and you've got Knightsbridge going down to Melbourne. How have they come through their trials?
Yeah, look, we're excited. It's another great reason for this time of year, getting these babies out and taking the wraps off them. And we've got a lovely colt. Incognito's come through it really well. Tommy just called me just before in the segment, and mentioned he had galloped nicely this morning, so he'll ride him on Saturday. And we decided to send Knightsbridge down to run in Melbourne, and James McDonald's going to partner him. So look, both trainers seem very happy, and we'll see how they've come through it and see what they can do.
And that's the dream, isn't it? That one day those colours, the green and gold, can run in your slot.
I think we say it every year, don't we? It's hard. It's definitely the dream, but it needs to be the right horse, and we've always said that as a group, that we wouldn't just have a horse in there for the sake of it. It needs to be a real, genuine contender, and we're always hoping that'll pop up soon.
All right. Good luck on the big one in a couple of weeks' time, James. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
There's James Harron with Angel Capital this year in the Everest. We'll take a break. William Haggas is back. Issy Paul's back. Lake Forest is back. Coming up next.
Lake Forest bursting home on the rails. Lake Forest. William Haggas has done it again. Lake Forest got up to nail, I think, Lazat.
Number 14 in the frame, Lake Forest.
Wow. Unbelievable. When will we learn? 40-1 they bet. He is a master.
This doesn't get old, does it?
It's just as exciting every time. Look, absolutely delighted with the horse. Kieran's ridden the most beautiful race, and we used that explosive turn of foot, and my God, those last 200 metres, he was impressive.
How does your team pick the right horse every time?
I mean, that's just down to the boss. He's a genius, and look, it's yeah, it's great. We weren't sure about this horse because he's only 3 and we like them to be a bit older. He's still a colt. We usually bring geldings down, but you know, hopefully we can find a few more like him.
So Lake Forest is back for his second spring in a row, and Ray, I've lost count of how many Group 1 winners came out of that Golden Rose. It's only a relatively new race, but the greatest ever.
It's incredible, and to be fair, Lake Forest should have been one as well because he should have won last start at York. We'll find out Issy Paul very shortly, but the race itself last year, probably the best Golden Eagle ever, and we've got the Golden Eagle winner back in a big, big way for the King Charles.
William Haggas, a big supporter of Sydney racing. He'll have his first runner on Everest Day this year with Lake Forest in the King Charles. And Issy Paul is joining us. Welcome home.
Hi, thank you very much. It's great to be back.
How have things gone with the travel? Has Lake Forest settled in well?
Yeah, look, he never misses a beat. He seems to be pleased to be home as well. And yeah, he's enjoying training, enjoying rolling, picking grass, and certainly enjoying the sunshine.
So is he better this year, a year older?
Look, he's filled out a little bit. It's funny, a few people have said it to me, and you probably don't notice when you see them every day, but he's definitely a stronger horse, and I think his form this year has been probably a lot more consistent than it was going into the Golden Eagle last year, and hopefully that will stand him in good stead.
Izzy, I mentioned earlier that run at York in a Group 1. He should have won. That was his last start, so he's coming to Australia in red-hot form.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, he's a lazy horse. He's lazy at home. He's kind of lazy in his races as well. And then with that explosive turn of foot, and I think the extra furlong should stand him in good stead. Obviously, the City of York's over sort of 1,400 metres, and the King Charles is 1,600. So hopefully that extra distance will pay dividend.
You're a seasoned traveller out here yourself now, but you did mention earlier in a piece we saw earlier that he was only a 3-year-old colt when you brought him out last time. How has he adapted to the Australian way again this time around, being a whole year older and the fact that he has had that experience prior?
I think he's probably just, if it's even possible, just settled into it even easier. He is a colt. He's by no name ever, and you know, they have a bit of temperament about them, and he can be quite cheeky. But he's probably a slightly easier horse to deal with this time round. He's never bad, but he is cheeky. Yeah, I think I said in an interview last week, he's probably a little bit more of a gentleman this time round. So again, hopefully, kind of going forward, that'll help.
Fair enough. Izzy, the William Haggas, your trainer, of course, has trained for the King, and speaking to him recently, it would mean a lot if he could win the King Charles III Stakes. When did the race come on the radar for William and with Lake Forest, and was it that York run that convinced William to send him back down again?
I mean, obviously, given sort of how well he performed out here last year, targets in Australia are once they've done it once, you know, you keep looking for more targets, and obviously you can't go back to the Golden Eagle because it's, you know, the age thing. But yeah, I guess the City of York kind of confirmed it, that he is a sort of top class performer, and it's worth bringing him back down.
You've brought a companion with him this time, Sam Hawkins. Give us a background of this horse and how he found his way to Australia.
So Sam was bought by Sam Haggas, actually, out of an online sale, which is not something we do a lot. It's not as common sort of at home as it is over here. And then he kind of had a couple of dodgy runs for us, was gelded, and then he's actually won his last 3 starts. And the last one was during the Goodwood Festival, they're always tough races to win those. So he's a really nice, progressive little horse. He's been bought by OTI, hence the kind of Australian link, and he's going to have 1 run for us, and then I think the plan is for him to then go to John O'Shea and Tom Charlton, so he'll actually stay down here.
Exactly. Izzy, you have done a super job for William Haggas's horses over the last few years and won so many majors here in Sydney. The boss hasn't needed to come down, but he told me the other day he might come down early in November to Sydney or Melbourne.
He hasn't told me that, so that's exciting if he does. But yeah, it would be great to have him here a bit more, just to kind of celebrate it more than anything. And you know, those big wins are always important, no matter where you are. And he obviously misses out on a lot of it, so it would be great to have him down here.
What's been your most memorable trip out here, and in which win from all the trips you've made stands out the most?
Probably Dubai Honours Queen Elizabeth, the one he won, not the one he was second in. The boss was here, and he's a very, very special horse. He's just amazing. And yeah, so that's probably the most memorable. But the Tancred last year was pretty cool as well, and you know, meaning those colours are up on the post at Rosehill is amazing.
There's one more, isn't there? There's another horse being set for the 5 Diamonds. Can you remind us of him?
Yeah, he's a lovely horse. He's called Bullet Point by Advertise, and he's just a really solid sort of miler and really solid handicapper. So he's an exciting horse, and hopefully, all being well, he can get the job done as well. Okay, so I think that's what you're alluding to. I think William might be coming for that horse.
It must be a good thing, is he, if the boss is coming down for the 5 Diamonds?
Well, hopefully.
Now, this is your first runner on Everest Day. You haven't been to an Everest yet, have you?
I actually have been to one, but it was before I worked. Yeah, it was before I worked for the boss, and but I'm very excited to be there, kind of with horses and see it from that perspective.
So you were here before you were with William?
Yeah, so I went to the Everest when I was on the Flying Start course, and I think it was the year Yes one, actually.
Okay. So you know what to expect. It's a crazy day.
Yeah, I'm just sort of hoping the horses will, cope with it, and it's obviously very different to Rosehill for Lake Forest. It's not quite as quiet, so we'll see how we go.
How has the flat season gone for the stable overall in Europe?
Oh, look, we've had plenty of winners. It's been a really good year numbers wise. Economics is obviously, it's been frustrating not to have him in the mix. But we've had some really nice winners. More Thunder's been a great horse all season. We had a nice Group 2 winner, actually for Tony Bloom and his connections, called Santorini Star the other week. Sky Majesty, for the same connections, has been performing really well all season. So we've had some really nice horses, and we look like we've got some nice horses coming through as well.
All right. Well, good luck with Lake Forest, Sam Hawkins, Bullet Point. This year you've been kept a little bit busier.
Yeah, definitely, but busy's good.
All right, that's great. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, guys.
Issy Paul, she's one of us now.
She does a remarkable
Honorary
job.
Australian, yeah. William's very lucky.
Yeah.
And he knows he is too.
And the other thing too, have we learned at last Chantelle back Williams' horses first up in Sydney?
Oh, they're
they
incredible,
always
aren't they?
win.
Yeah. Well, this horse actually has a bit of residual because he only raced, 5 weeks ago, so he's probably coming here a more fitter version than last year.
Can we have a look at that King Charles market if we could, because it is shaping up as something really special.
What a race.
Considering that Fangirl comes back to Sydney and noses out stablemate Lindemann in the 7 Stakes. Pride of Jenny wasn't even in the market because they weren't considering the King Charles, but now she's won the Fian and immediately they had to put her in the market. The money came for Pride of Jenny, and now the connections are saying she's likely to come, so we get to see her again. Autumn Glow, we'll put her to one side. Mr Brightside's definitely going to be here. Chawolf will back up after the Epsom on Saturday. And Gringotts is sort of in that holding pattern at the moment, isn't he? But this is having the desired effect. Moving the George Main to Everest Day and throwing a bit of money at it and reinventing a weight for age mile.
It's just worked, and that field there is just about race of the spring stuff, is it, alongside the Everest and even the Golden Eagle. But for a weight for age mile at Randwick, it doesn't get much better than that field potentially.
No, I hope Jenny comes, because she's going to do what she does. She's going to set the speed out in front and just make it. It's an exciting race, even if she wasn't in it, with the talent, with the quality we've got. But if they throw her in the mix, then she just the race shape just changes completely.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Well, you don't know what you're going to get, and I think people love the exhilaration of that. Just wondering how far will she lead by.
Okay, we're going to take a break, our final break, and then back with Ben Dorries with some news. To Queensland we go. Ben Dorries is joining us from RaceNet. Hello, Benny.
G'day, Greg. Nice and sunny up here.
It's beautiful down here. It's 31. You should take a trip down south. What's the wash up in the Manikato?
Yeah, there's a bit to consider here, guys. First and foremost, Skybird, who failed in the Manikato, pulled up lame and also was troublesome getting into the barriers, was very hard to load, and a bar was placed on Skybird, who obviously has an Everest slot. There she is, finishing near the tail of the field. I touched base with Mitch Friedman today. He said, look, we really won't have any updates until Thursday at the earliest on vet's advice. So look, I've got to say at the moment Skybird is locked in for an Everest slot, but I guess there must be some element of doubt around Skybird. So that's interesting to consider. Charmbird, the brilliant winner there, I spoke to Mick Price this morning. He said, look, there've been some interest from Mulberry Racing. Obviously, Charmstone is a two-time Group 1 winner. Mick Price pointed out, even a couple of years ago in the Golden Rose, she was climbing all over the heels of the winner, Militarise, on that day. And look, Mick's backed up there by Damien Oliver, no less, who was in the media the other day saying that if he was a slot holder, or if he had a say in the Everest, Charmstone would definitely be getting a slot. So that's interesting to consider. Of the beaten brigade there, Barraquil, the runner-up, is out of the spring. Magic Time, she's a model of consistency. Graham Begg is definitely going to take her to Sydney one way or the other, hoping for an Everest slot. Lady Shenandoah, I just don't think she could have won the way the race panned out. It was a pass mark. If you backed her in the Manikato, you did your cash cold. You didn't really get a look in, but look, she didn't stand out on stalks, I wouldn't have thought, from an Everest point of view, but as I said, she couldn't have won the way the race panned out and where she was.
We had a piece earlier. Tim Clark went to Newcastle to ride Private Harry for the first time yesterday morning.
Yeah, so I've spoken, I think really for the first time he sort of put his head up, to Ash Morgan, who obviously got sacked from riding Private Harry a couple of weeks ago. Look, I thought it was a really harsh call, to be honest, by Corinda Bloodstock. Ash Morgan had a great association with Private Harry. I don't think he did too much wrong on the day, but look, even if you didn't love his ride for one reason or another, it's one ride. And look, I spoke to him today. I was going to do a story with him for RaceNet, but he said, look, I think I've handled this the right way. I just want to keep my head down. I want my riding to do the talking. And one thing I can point out too is Ash Morgan, since this disappointment, he's ridden 8 winners since last Thursday. So look, very unlikely, of course, he'll get a ride in this year's Everest, but he's a class act. He's a former real estate agent from London. He's a really worldly sort of guy. I reckon we will see him in future Everests. And obviously it was a double blow to swallow for him as well, because the same day Private Harry ran there, Half Yours, who's the Caulfield Cup favourite, ran in Melbourne. He couldn't ride it, and now he doesn't get the ride, doesn't get back on for the spring there either. So, look, he's got every reason to be down in the dumps, Ash Morgan, but he was fine when I spoke to him this morning. And as I said, it's a bit of a cliche, but just looking forward to showing his riding do the talking.
And finally, your leading trainer, Tony Gollan's been inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this has got absolutely nothing to do with the Everest, and the show is called Trek to the Everest, but I can tell you Tony Gollan is desperately hoping to have a Everest runner one day, and he's, of course, his star horse at the moment is Antino, but he's really developed his name for training sprinters over the years. And this is a much watched this video. You can have a look at it on RaceNet's social platforms, and here's some of it here when he finds out that he's in the Hall of Fame. That's Craig Kavanagh, who is as loyal as a drover's dog. He's long-term offsider, who Tony's known since a kid. He's smiling there, Tony, but he actually breaks down in tears on several occasions. There he is, wiping away the tears, when he finds out he's the youngest trainer in history to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. There's only been one younger person, that was Glenn Boss, who was 45 when he was inducted into the Queensland Racing Hall of Fame. Tony Gollan is 46. He made the point he was a little bit embarrassed, actually. Jim Atkins, one of his heroes, is in there. He never thought he'd be mentioned in the same breath as Jim Atkins. He idolised his dad as well, Darryl Gollan, who sadly passed away a few years ago. But Tony said he was a bit embarrassed, but he said, look, this is a great accolade. I'll share it with my wife, Jane, and my kids, but I've got some unfinished business. I can improve as a trainer. He's won 12 straight Brisbane training premierships, and I know, Tony, he would love nothing more than to have an Everest runner in future years. So keep an eye out for Tony in the Everest.
Well, that's great news. Congratulations. Thank you, Benny.
Thanks, guys.
Well done, Tony Gollan. That's a great honour. We've almost run out of time, but the Kosciuszko, I think there's one more slot that is about to be filled. It might be a matter of paperwork going through to confirm the final runner in the Kosciuszko. Here's the market for the Kosci. Front page is favourite and has been for a long time and will be on race day. $3.50 over Clear Thinking at $4.50 and Compelling Truth at $8. So he's won two. He's run second to Far Too Easy last year, and he's back for his fourth crack at the Kosciuszko front page. And here is Matthew Dale with an update, talking to Greg Pritchard.
Matt Dale, what's the latest with front page, the favourite for the Kosciuszko?
Yeah, he's coming along well. We wrote the script very similar to previous years, and he's following that script. He's had a jump out already, just a comfortable one. He'll have a couple of gallops on the course proper next week, and he'll trial at Goulburn Tuesday week, and then straight into the Kosciuszko from there.
Boston Rocks will have another run before the race?
Yeah, he ran really well first up, then off 5 weeks he got caught 3 wide and had a bit of a big blow there second up. He's improved off that, and he'll run next Saturday, and then he'll be 2 weeks into the Kosci, but he's in good order.
But sticking to the routine that fits front page.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Have you got any leaning towards a horse other than front page at this stage?
I thought Compelling Truth and Clear Thinking were probably his two dangers.
Yep.
Of course, Compelling Truth we saw in the shorts, and I thought he could have been a little bit better, but maybe it was the run he needed to have. And Clear Thinking, while we're waiting to see her, she's been hiding as well. The trials have been fine, but I think if she can bring some of her form from last preparation, then she's right in there.
We didn't show this earlier. We spoke about Prodigy earlier, but we didn't show her Fian victory, beating Treasure of the Moment. And I think that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Yep.
You talk about the performance, and Pride of Jenny can do some amazing things, but she beat Treasure the Moment.
Who was on a 9-race winning streak going into the Fian, was odds on, but Pride of Jenny, she doesn't know how old she is, and great training effort to get her back after all the setbacks that she's had in the last couple of years, and that was the Pride of Jenny of old. She was outstanding.
She was great, wasn't she? Well, they say she's sound. There's nothing wrong with her. It was just that she had that little bit of a bleed last time out. But for them to, I guess, be, what's the word you want to use? Brave enough to continue with her. There's so much media criticism about continuing on with her, but the fact that they were able to just block that noise out, bring her back, and let her do the talking, and she's come out and she's proven that she is able to continue on, and it's exciting for us.
Yeah, they know their mare, and he's a great horseman, Kieran Maher.
Yeah.
And
Kieran was a bit emotional about
good
her on Friday nights. It just means something, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, here he is, Kieran Maher, at the races on Saturday, speaking with Greg Pritchard.
Pride of Jenny exploded back to form last night in brilliant fashion in the Fian. What do you make of it?
Amazing. She's just, she continually just surprises me, how her endeavour and I suppose I shouldn't get surprised, but the longevity, and she's just an amazing horse, and it's great to have her back. So she could end up here in a King Charles. There is the Empire Rose and a good couple of mile races down there as well. So it's good to have her back in form, and good to have options.
Already into second favouritism for the King Charles behind Fangirl, as you would expect.
Yeah, well, not surprising on that. I haven't seen the figures from the race yet, but I'm sure they'll be pretty good.
And Gringotts unfortunately scratched again today. Is it only a minor problem with the bloods, and will it run in the King Charles?
Well, that's certainly the plan. I certainly, when they have those little issues, if you run them and they're not right, well, that'll be end of prep sort of thing. So that's still the plan.
Saturday brings us to 2 weeks out from the TAB Everest, Ray.
So yeah, the countdown's on. Still need those 3 slots to be filled and that little question mark about Skybird, but I think James Harron said during the show, Chantelle, probably the best Everest field ever it's being assembled so far.
Yeah, it's exciting. I really hope this time next week we have a little bit more information. Hopefully Godolphin have chosen their slot. Hopefully Coolmore have given us an indication where they want to head. War Machine resumes.
Yep, either Sydney or Melbourne.
Yep.
It sounds like Melbourne in the Gilgai.
And then, of course, there's Charmstone that's waiting on a slot.
The Premier is such an important race. Briasa, you'd like him to take another step. Jimmy Starr the same, because both their first up runs were good. The big watch is Private Harry. He has to come out and do something.
Yeah. Who's to say he won't?
Yep. Yeah. And that's it. That's Trek to the Everest. So we've got 2 more shows to go, including the barrier draw. Thanks for joining us.
There's the light now, and we're ready to go. The gates are back here at the Everest. They're off and racing to the massive roar of the crowd. Giga Kick going to Bella Nipotina. Bella's in front though. Bella Nipotina wins the Everest.
Kaying rising. He's the Usain Bolt of the equine world.
Briasa goes to overpass. Briasa won the TJ. Jimmy Starr levels up. Jimmy takes the shot and won the All-Age Stakes.